How's it going, everyone? So I just wanted to hop up on here, go ahead and talk about the Humboldt Seed Company situation, because apparently they're having issues with their triploids, or they're having some kind of controversy. So I kind of figured we'd go through a couple of these. Wow. The gliders are going to be very distracting throughout this whole situation, and I hope that doesn't bother you guys, but hopefully we can, see what's going on with the triploid controversy, see more context on it. I heard that it was a pretty dramatic thing. I got a DM on my Instagram, which you guys can go ahead and follow in the description of my video. I think we're going to go ahead. We got Rob CLTV over here. And then we have a Week 7 update, Triploid Donuts by Humboldt Seed Company by CLTV as well. But it looks like he's the only one talking about it. So let's just hop onto his video, kind of see what he's going.
I woke up to so many direct messages, comments, tags, all sorts of things on social media. It seems like we may have run into some issues here with these triploids. This video is for educational purposes only, YouTube. So if you're new here, my name is Rob, and we talk all things, or today in particular, we're going to talk about some controversial situations going on right now, and unfortunately, it's with the HSC triploids. Now, months back, you probably saw my video going over these triploids, talking about the hype and how cool they could potentially be, and the nuances of this innovation. I ended up getting some of the genetics, I popped the seeds, and I grew it all the way out. Unfortunately, I did see some Hermy traits. We got some bananas towards the bottom, and I thought
That's interesting. So hermaphroditic traits, interestingly, are also something that come up in feminized seeds a lot. I haven't had a whole lot of experiences with herming out feminized genetics. It has happened before, but like once or twice. But I do hear that it's a pretty huge problem, and they do have those tendencies based on their genetics and how they're bred. But if he's going into this and he's super experienced of a grower, he should be able to avoid those genetics if they're avoidable. But let's hear a little bit more context. Also, after we get done with this, like reacting to what we can react to with this video, I don't want to watch the whole thing by any means. No offense to Rob, but I don't want to steal his audio and completely strip it. But yeah, we'll get into a couple articles, see if we can see anything, maybe read up on a couple forums, and get a little bit more context as to what's going on. Also, I'm eating during this stream. I hope you guys don't think it's like rude of me to do so. But you know, a big boy gotta eat, so
mentioned this on live streaming from the stash. I mentioned this to a couple other people, actually, who are other growers, and not that many people had the issues at the time, I thought. Then, fast forward a couple weeks, I started seeing some posts about it on social media, and then my boy 420 things ended up running into it as well. At that point, I reached out to Humboldt, trying to maybe get a hold of them to see what's going on, but unfortunately, it's like 420 things. A reply lately, it seems. I was hoping I didn't have to do a video on this, but it seems we're not getting any response yet. But triploids seem to be herming out, man. The Humboldt Seed Company triploids seem to be doing bad for most people, unfortunately. Now, new things come out, new things happen. This is what it is. I felt obligated. I need to make this video. This is no smear campaign. This is no.
So, I really think that when you get into growing in general and growing certain genetics, it's very possible that you get a fluke that herms out. And I think what could be happening here is just the immaturity of a process, because we just heard of triploid genetics being introduced into the mainstream. At least I did only a couple weeks ago, or maybe like 2 months ago. Fairly recent. And with those kinds of things going on, it's probably going to be very difficult to have the stable genetics that we look for. And with the lack of testing and lack of sample sizes, it can be very hard to gauge what kind of risk you're taking when you go into something like that. So I think that's what could be going on here. it's either an immature process or a lot of people are getting flukes and we're just reporting it a lot.
Disrespect. This is no fear-mongering thing. It's not my intention. So if it comes off that way, I apologize right off the rip. It's just wanting to bring attention to something I've been talking about for a while. Now, because of the Homie 420 things, big shout out to Big Mike, kind of made aware of what I already thought was an issue. You know, a lot of people have been running into hermine traits with these triploids. Myself, I ended up having nanners on the bottom of the plant. You'll see eventually once I finish the seed to harvest update. Been a nice video, so I'm hoping that we can get that done this month yet, but you'll see. You'll see the physical evidence in that video, but that's not really the biggest issue. Things happen. More about how the company handles it after the fact. So take a quick look at this and judge it for yourself and let me know what you think in the comments.
I just wanted to make this video really quick. Company /donut triploids. I'm on their site and recommended for outdoor only. That wasn't there before, I don't think.
That's gross.
I know. And then, here's some scientific stuff, some videos about how it's, supposed to be great for extraction, blah, blah, blah. Greenhouse, high depth, high outdoor, high extraction. Yeah, that's not what it said before. What's going on? Well, if we go to a website called The Wayback Machine, you can go to the Donut Triploids website from February 15th. And on the site, you see it's a little different. This is grayed out, I'm assuming, because it's like an archived video or something, but there's nothing about it being an outdoor strain only. Okay, well then let's go into here. Performance, greenhouse, high depth, high outdoor, high indoor. So they've removed that as of sometime between February 15th and today. I wonder if it's after everyone's
So that's just
getting
the direct opposite.
Is this them protecting future buyers of this? Or is this them protecting themselves? I don't know, because I don't know their motives. But when I see something...
So it could be both. I could definitely see both. When it comes to something like this, again, going back to it's an immature process, things do happen when you get into making genetics and introducing new things into strains. A lot of difficult things can be going on. And if this is the only strain that they have triploided genetics of, one very big possibility is that the genetics themselves in that cookies, I believe they were, no, it's a donuts. In that donuts that they specifically have, that entire strain could have a tendency to herm out. Or introducing the triploid somehow gave it a herming tendency. Or it's feminized and triploided and has a tendency to herm, and it's specifically this one. And as for the business side of things, I could see both ways, because they could have changed it to cover their asses and also have some kind of plausible deniability. We have recorded evidence now that they actually have the same recommendations as they do now. So they're going to have to fight a lot harder. I hear flowing water. What the fuck is that? I'll be right back. I might be paranoid as shit. Yeah, no, I'm fucking stupid. It was the new fish tank. We got an axolotl. The other weekend we went to Tractor Supply and picked up an axolotl. But yeah, on the business side of things, I could see both ways. But now they're going to have to fight a little bit harder to prove that they changed it in the grower's interest rather than in the business's interest. But I don't think they're going to be held accountable either way, because that's normally how these things go. But anything is possible.
Something like this, I go, oh, they changed it. They're not promoting indoor use with the triploids anymore. Huh. Yeah, I don't know, guys. Think what you want on this one, I guess. Tell me what you think in the comments.
Now, again, it's unfortunate to see a situation like this, especially from a company that I've got so much respect for, and that the community really does as well. I'm hoping there's an explanation, but we haven't had any replies. I've tagged them directly. I've reached out directly. I haven't heard anything back yet. But before you buy any triploids, before you start popping those, I felt like you should know this. It can be a very upsetting thing when you're looking at $30 a seed for what now is starting to come out as outdoor only or recommended for outdoor. Myself, when I was sitting in the 10 by 10 grow tent going over all these things, made it pretty clear that I'm an indoor grower. We discussed the cultivars a lot. We discussed these triploids a lot. It didn't seem to be an issue that I was growing these inside. And the fact that on the website it never had any disclaimer until more recently, and then there's no email sent out or no public statement or nothing, essentially. It's really upsetting. Now, at no point was I profiting off of this. I had no discount. There was nothing there that was a business-related thing. This was literally just me being passionate about the plant, me being excited about the potential evolution of the plant, and seeing some new products in the market. Now, I tried it, and I was hoping I'd be the guinea pig, but unfortunately, a lot of people will go ahead and pull the trigger in buying things before they're even seeing the final product. Same with grow boxes, genetics.
Yeah, that's a big problem. That's where a lot of people get burned, too.
To purchase these things before seeing the final product and then blame the content creator for promoting it. Now, I wasn't necessarily doing this to promote the purchase of it. I thought this is a new evolution of the plant. And at no point would I have thought that a plant that's supposed to be sterile and not have any of these traits would hurt me out on us. Especially so many people having it. And it wasn't just me. It was myself, 420 Things, High Again, and plenty of others who probably didn't publicly say anything, unfortunately. Now, does this mean that triploids are bad? No. But does it mean that this was a bad drop? In my opinion, yes. Now, Ben and Nat seem like some great guys. I've met them in the past. We've talked before, and they seem like they're really about the community and the people.
Yeah, so, scummy business practice. Drop seeds that you're not sure of. However, to Rob's credit, he did not ever, to my knowledge, actually promote any seed buying. He was just saying, hey, these are new things that are on the market. It seems like it could be pretty exciting, but we're going to be testing it out. We're going to try to grow them. But when you talk about someone who does it for a living or does it full time, compared to someone who is trying to be a hobbyist, you should really let people who are doing it for a living and have a lot less to lose actually experiment with these things and figure out a way to make it work, or do a run and figure out that it doesn't work. They talked about it on a podcast too when they were talking about FTS from the stash. They were talking about how people will go out and buy like the newest, coolest thing, even though they already have some stuff. What's good, Express T-Flow? Not much. We're just kind of talking about the Humbolt Seed Company triploid problem with their donut strain that Rob from CLTV grew and had Herm out on him. And apparently a lot of people also have had the same problem. We're going to actually see if we can find people talking about it. So Humboldt triploid. How you been doing, by the way, man? I feel like I've been away from YouTube a lot lately, which I really don't want to be. Triploids, genetically modified triploid cannabis seeds. High potency triploid. Man, a ton of people are talking about Humboldt seed, triploided seed. So let's actually just try to find a description of what they got going on here. Try to find their website. Introducing the future of cannabis cultivation. It doesn't seem like it's taken off well, man. Welcome to the future of cannabis cultivation, where innovation meets excellence. If you're a home grower or commercial cultivator seeking to elevate your yields and enhance the potency of your harvest, you're in the right place. The era of high potency triploid cannabis has arrived. Humboldt OG triploid. So they do have more than one. Donuts triploid. Doing great, man. Glad to hear it, T-Flow. I actually had something unfortunate happen the other night, but we don't need to necessarily get into all that. That's a little personal, but I'm doing all right other than my dental stuff. So we got the OG triploid and the donuts triploid from them. So what is a triploid cannabis? Which, if you've been you keeping up with the cannabis community and all that good stuff, you probably know a little bit about it. But in nature, cannabis typically exists with diploid or two chromosomes. However, through the intentional breeding and selective pressures, we have harnessed a rare phenomenon by creating tetraploid plants using a natural chemical derived from the bulb of the autumn calculum autumnale. Wow. These triploid plants are then crossed with diploid plants, resulting in offspring with three chromosomes known as triploid seeds. These improved cannabis seeds pave the way for the enhanced genetic vigor and, wow, unprecedented possibilities. And then they have a little diagram here comparing the trichome density of diploid slash triploid, which the triploid looks a lot more like diploid cannabis that I've had in the past. And the diploid looks like a little picture that I've never had before in my amends. And you guys can look this up. It's right on the Humboldt Seed Company website, an article they did about triploids. Steady working and growing. Hope everything is well. I've been hearing a lot of bad buzz about the Humboldt triploids. Yep, that's what we're going over to. Actually reacted to Rob from CLTV's video about it because he's the only one who talked about it. OG triploid, the Kush legend continues with the triploid triple XL version as known traditionally for its potent distinct aroma, and the Donuts triploid. Donuts triploid is a glazed delight known for its distinctive and enticing donut-like aroma with dense, vibrant green purple buds, which I really think I would be more interested in donuts, and they said to do it in outdoor only. I don't know how that would change the hermaphroditic tendencies, but T-Flow, I hope everything is going steady and well for you, and I hope you are feeling fantastic on this, what is it, Thursday morning? Very happy to see you in the chat. It's always a pleasure. Oh shit, that's weird. They got a little slider thing where you can slide the picture and have it half one picture and well, part one picture and part not. Part a different picture. Interesting. I've never seen that before. Donuts triploid cannabis seeds, which is also the seeds that Rob from CLTV talked about in his video. Donuts triploid is the glazed land known as distinctive aroma, bringing together sweet and dessert-like characteristics with the hint of fuel that makes it reminiscent of a morning fresh donuts at the gas station, which sounds like a really good situation to be in there, terpene-wise. Its buds are dense, vibrant green and purple. A dense coating of resin gives the buds a frosty, glistening appearance. She's super unique, carrying subtle undertones of vanilla and cinnamon, adding depth to the overall donut-like scent. And speaking of super unique terpene profiles, my fiance and I, we picked up these vapes from Hiker's Cannabis, and I had one, and it tastes just like pineapple and coconut, kind of like a pina colada, and I kind of get a kick out of it. And it's also a sativa, so it gives me that good energizing creative high. I like it. I enjoy it a lot. I can't remember what the strain's called though, unfortunately, to save my life. Dense coating of resin, depth of overall donut-like scent. The high begins with a euphoric and uplifting sensation, promoting feelings of happiness and creativity as time passes. A soothing body relaxation sets in, relieving any tension or stress. This strain is perfect for those seeking a combination of the mental stimulation and physical relaxation, easy to grow, and a standout in any garden, which I would love to get into, but it seems now is not the time for sure. At least not with Humboldt's triploids, which it seems like Humboldt triploids are the only ones we have to choose from. Here, let's see if I look up fucking caps lock is on. Triploid cannabis seeds for sale. Let's see what comes up. Trilogene.com also sells triploid cannabis apparently. Sour Bremix 3N triploid cannabis seeds starting at $40. And then they also have the clone. Is that all of them? The Sour Bremix 3N triploid is the only triploided genetic from Trilogene, which is spelled Trilogene. If you guys want to go ahead and check that out. GTR seeds. Has anyone heard of GTR seeds? Grow the Revolution. Yes, I'm 21 or older. Don't fucking remind me. I'm old. Shop triploids. Oh, shit. They got a ton. They got... God fucking damn it. They got Bermuda Triangle, Derailed, High Octane Grape, Knox Cookies, Private Party, Terp Poison, and Citrus Slurp. All of those sound good. So maybe it's just Humboldt. Maybe it's just a problem with Humboldt. Here, let's go back to not Humboldt. Get out of here. GTR seeds, and let's read the descriptions of one of these Let's go. Oh, they got so many. They say seedless, and I imagine that means it's triploided to be seedless and not actually germinate. So they got a lot of them. They even have CBD ones that are triploided. Um, Here, let's go Knox cookies. Let's just read the description of one of them. Girl Scout cookies S1 four times crossed with AVL. This is a triploid of no ordinary cookie. One look at the sugar coats, the leaves. We know we bred something special. Huge dominant colas, a short stature, hippie house. I remember stumbling on BC Bud Depot as a kid. Never had the balls to order though. But what's the issue with Humboldt Seed Co? So you can go back on the stream, and we went over Rob from CLTV's look on it because I actually haven't heard of anything about it before doing the stream. Basically, what's happening is Humboldt Seed Co. put out two different strains of triploided genetics, and it's G and the donuts genetic that they have there. And apparently, when they had it all set up originally, they made it marketed towards indoor and outdoor. And then once Rob got these seeds, and a bunch of people who follow Rob also bought the seeds, a lot of them started herming out. A lot of people, including Rob, had the triploided genetics herming out when grown indoors. I remember the post. Yeah, I kind of avoided it a little bit, like the plague. Especially after I decided I wanted to stream about it. I wanted to go into it blind and kind of learn, kind of on the fly, even though everyone else already knew about it and read into it. But yeah, so I kind of want to look and see if there's a company other than Humboldt, because I know that Humboldt is a huge name, and it gets pushed out in front, or will get pushed out in front, even if they did something that a lot of other people did. Not that I'm comparing Humboldt to Apple, but Apple copying Samsung and getting pushed out front just because they're a more popular brand. That kind of thing can happen. So I want to do like a deep dive and see if there's a potential that someone has it figured out better than Humboldt. And Grow the Revolution, they have a lot of triploided genetics. I've never heard of them. So it could be that they're garbage, or it just could be that I've never looked into it before. But also, let's see where it says to grow it. So, huge dominant colas, a short stature, and resin, and more resin. Ideal for indoor growers. So this one says, wow. So this one says indoor growers, which Humboldt Seed Company was having problems with indoor grows. Lots of growers out there. Yes, there are. There are a lot of growers, and there are a lot of seed companies. It'd be impossible for me to know every single seed company, let alone every single grower. So that's a good point. And one of the heaviest, despite its size, and also a high total cannabinoid yielder, rock solid flowers equal the smallest pounds you will ever see. Cookies aromas with a heavy dose of citrus and fuel. We call it laughing gas for a reason. So triploid, F1 hybrid, early finishing photo period. So it's early finishing too. Feminized seeds. The flowering time is 8 to 9 weeks. So I don't know how that makes it an early finishing photo period. 8 to 9 is pretty typical. Maturity, late September, early October for outdoors. Cannabinoid content, high, but it doesn't say a specific number of THC from what I see. So this is a type 1 seed variety and may produce some seeds in areas of heavy pollination. So if you have a lot of growers around you and they have a tendency to grow males, or if you have a high male density and it drops pollen, it's saying even though the genetics are seedless, it's just seed resistant. It seems to say here. Wait a minute. Well-grown crops with good field conditions and accurate testing can yield up to 15 to 30% total cannabinoids, growing technique, nutrient regimen, blah, 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 blah. All that shit. Ratios refer to CBD, CBG, or CBDV/CBD percentage to total THC. So that's under cannabinoid production. It says all seeds are feminized seeds. A minimum of 10% extra seed is added to every order. So you get a 10% of free seeds. And then all seeds contain less than 0.3% total THC. Understand your local laws and ordinance before planting. So that's where Grow the Revolution is slacking. They don't sell seeds, they sell hemp seeds that are exploited so that you can make CBD products, CBN, CBG, rather than THC. So that kind of ends my search there. I'm not going to be spending triploid money on CBD genetics. No, thank you. So I'm going back to Trilogene with the sour premix. Maybe it's a loophole. That's very possible. But at the same time, if the reason I don't think it's a loophole is simply because if I were running a business, the last thing I would want is for a federal officer to be able to buy my seeds, grow them legally, send them off to a lab to get tested, and take down my entire operation. Maybe I think too deeply into things, but yeah, I'm not going to go for something that advertises that it's going to be less than what. I think you're confused, my brother. What am I confused, or is Hippie House confused? Yeah, I could be confused. The seed is not the flower it makes. That's very true. Normally, I've heard that in the context of like the genetics. So I could be wrong. I have no fucking idea. That's more likely true. Yeah, that I'm confused. Genetics definitely vary, but they didn't have it marked out anywhere else in the actual website. And then when they were talking about the cannabinoids, they actually had um, THC was kind of seemed like an afterthought. It didn't really seem like it was something they were going for. So yeah, I could have got confused at some point. Plus, I have a couple cannabinoids in me as well. But yeah, genetics do vary, but they'll also give a range. A lot of seed banks will. This this phenotype is just a stronger THC having CBD strain. Yeah, geez, copper. Aroma. Okay, we're talking about the triploided. What was it? Fucking granny pants mixer or some shit. I can't find my sour brie mix. Yeah, the THCA loophole is so fucking stupid. Like I'm sorry. It's just so dumb. Like if you marketed it with THCA because it's not fucking decarboxylated, that is absolutely crazy. But, kudos to them. Loophole. Paint thinner comes through heavily on the front end with calming citrus on the back end. So that sounds interesting. I don't know what I would think about paint thinner smelling weed. Flavors, it has a Mayor's lemon truck smashed into a Sherwin Williams paint thinner diesel truck. Legal semantics. Yeah, I'm aware of the game. The legal semantics is definitely a crazy game to get into, and I don't want to be there when they form the laws and I have a business that sells THCA, and then my entire shit just goes down in flames. But if they decide not to change it and they just want to go for THC, maybe I could start a bud selling business. Appearance, a high yielder with strong structure and short intervals, high trichome density. We created this seedless triploid variety with for outdoor growers wanting a Sinsemilla flower for smokable and want to increase extraction efficiency, the increased vigor, trichome density, and the cannabinoid output from the diploid version is apparent on this one. So they're saying even the diploid is rather impressive. God damn it. There's a size and style section. Okay. Size and style, a vigorous plant that grows close to the, apical mid-size lateral branching. So the space-wise, I don't see. I don't think, at least, that I saw anything on the THC percentage. So that's kind of disappointing. You can buy a 500 seed pack for $10 a seed, though, for $5,000. That's cool. Oh, here we go. So, here we go. Post-harvest CBD percentage. And THCA percentage, 21 to 25%. It says it's hybrid THC dominant. So they're throwing THC on this, or THCA on this one too, just to make sure that they understand that it's the acid that's on the plant and not a decarboxylated form that's going to get you high already. Very interesting that they're even bothering to put the A there, but it's scientifically correct, so I'll let it fly. That's crazy. I want to sell seeds now. Hey man, go for it. Personally, I'd recommend going about it by creating your own thing first, like your own strain. Get a signature strain that's yours and only yours, and then go from there. But you can do it however the hell you want. You could copycat genetics if you wanted to. Not that I condone his business practices personally, but it's something that is legal to do, even if it's morally gray to do, in my opinion. But we could actually check out copycat shit at some point if you guys wanted to. I think we covered the triploid stuff pretty well. And since I've never heard of these other places, I'm going to assume they're not popular enough for me to have heard of them, or people aren't having problems with them. Man, we've been going for 40 minutes. And by the way, Happy House. There's a guy called ADHD OG. If you end up seeing him in the chat, interact with him because he's making a strain called ADHD OG, and it's his strain, and he's making it. And you could probably talk to him about breeding if that's something you're looking to get into. I got a pink guava. I've back crossed 3 times. I prefer the second gen, but yeah, man, I'm not pro. You don't need to be, man. You don't need to be pro for anything. Professionalism, I feel like, is a lie for the most part. Damn, what the fuck? The Queen S1, that shit looks fire as fuck, man. But yeah, you don't need to be a professional to start breeding, start making your own thing. You can steal this idea if you want, but I want to find my prize wedding cake pheno by pheno hunting. And I want to find a good peanut butter breath by doing this breeding project to make peanut butter breath with peanut butter breath F3s from Thug Pug Genetics. I have 10 of them. And I'm going to breed multiple rounds, find good phenos, back cross, stabilize genetics that I want to see come through, and then I want to breed with the wedding cake and create a peanut butter cake. That is my peanut butter cake. You met that dude before? That's fucking neat. Dad's tent. He seems like a cool dude from what I see in the chat. Still not as bad as crop jackers. Honestly, those guys fucking suck. Like, dude, to all the fucking crop jackers out there, I know you're fucking doing this crazy degenerate shit. Come back in a couple months, even if you hate the guy. Act like his friend for like 20 minutes. You'll get a joint out of it on the spot if you guys don't have like previous beef. And then if you talk to him, you could probably get some weed out of it without having to steal an entire plant and then get fucking mids out of their yard. Yeah, ADHD is the homie. Good to hear it, man. Good to hear it. Glad he's not putting up some kind of crazy front. The Pink Diamond S1 seems fucking dope, too. God damn, am I going to have to buy some copycat genetics? I'm just kidding. I'm not going to do that. But what I am going to do is I'm going to try to find these genetics by the people that made them originally. Toasted marshmallow sounds fire. But no, these are accurate. These look pretty good. He knows how to find genetics that look good bred together, I guess. when they make babies. Fucking hair in my mouth, man. That was no good. But yeah, I saw a pretty disappointing interview where he was talking about how he distributes seeds, and he talks about how he he buys seeds and then he crosses them, or he either crosses them or breeds them together, and then he'll just sell the first round, not checking for stability. Like, if I'm understanding it wrong, like, I'm sorry, but that's what it sounded like he said to me. But it's also been a while since I watched the interview, so that's all also alleged. But I wasn't personally a big fan. I feel like if you're gonna profit off of something you're doing, you should make it yours for sure. But I think that's really all that there is to talk about on triploid genetics. Is there any topics you guys have been wanting to see that we can touch on real quick, or should I just wrap it up? What are you guys feeling like? By the way, someone commented on my community post, trying to say that the peanut butter breath's gonna be mids. And I got one question for you, buddy. If you're watching this for some reason, why do you even come on here and say that? Like, why? There's no reason. Absolutely no reason. I will be the judge of how my weed turns out when it turns out. Alright, we don't need to be yelling any random shit. Let's see if we can find anything interesting. The dangers of triploids and the problems coming. Welcome to the Grow Tent did a video.
Hey man, it's me, Kevin Smith.
Some people just want to watch the world burn.
Welcome to the Grow
Yeah,
Tent.
no kidding, man.
You have found the best growing channel on YouTube, man. The place where we simplify the approach for you so everyone can learn how to grow. We make it so simple, even I can understand. So I'm going to listen and learn right now. Woo! Welcome back to the Grow Tent, everybody.
Trust me, man, he's only the first. The more views you get, the more haters you will be. There will be. He's not my first hater at all. People love spewing the random bullshit. I mean, I got almost 50,000 views in the past month. Like, I get haters. It's just not a big deal to me. It just blows back. Best bet's just to ignore them. All they want is attention or a reaction. Yeah, sometimes I do play into it a little bit. I'll troll some haters and I'll say some shit. And that's just to get more interaction on my channel. If you guys are like reading my comments and replying to like haters or someone who isn't quite getting my point or something like that, I'm not trying to be outwardly rude unless they're just coming out and being like a random dick, and then I'll just say something really sarcastic or stupid, and then I'll just have them give my channel more engagement. Because people love buying into that shit. It's like that Facebook mind where it's like if you see something, you need to comment on it, and people fall into that a lot. And it's like you can just move on.
Yep. Jesus. Take two, GT. You're lately talking about triploids and the benefits of them. And today we're going to talk about the downsides of them and why I think you should pay attention to it. As in other industries, whenever this has come out, it's led to some not really cool things for the market that nobody seems to think about right at first. So that's what we're going to talk about today. But first, as always, guys, it's the intro. This hat is like super itchy today for some reason. It's a brand new hat. let's just get right into the episode. Let's go.
Yeesh. I don't this guy because I'm sure he's a dope dude. And you don't get fucking over 200,000 subs on accident. But that was like a 2-minute long intro before
Other
we got into this.
And I'm not a fan of it now, especially the fanfare it's being accepted with. But if you're like just a part-time hobby grower, I could see if you're having problems with some things with your grow, I could see how it could be beneficial to you. But today I want to talk about some of the downsides of triploids that you might not have been thinking about. In any other industry, like let's say when Monsanto, they do triploids of their watermelons or whatever. They don't do watermelons, but they do triploids in their seeds.
I need seedless
What they're
watermelons, by
doing
the way.
is they're making it so you can't grow your plant and then take the seeds from your own plant and make new seeds. You have to literally go back to them for your seeds every year because your seedless watermelon or your seedless bananas or whatever they're doing, they're sterile. They're making their plants sterile so you, the consumer, can't just make your...
The more subs they have, the higher chance they don't know shit about plants. I don't necessarily see that perspective. Like, yeah, there's guys like Custom Grow 420 where it's like he's really big. But the reason he's big, in my opinion, is because he's a little bit of a lolcow, and he also has like a cultish following. But one of the things about him is you don't really hear about him. But he has over 1 million subscribers. Here, I'll actually look up. But yeah, I personally don't agree with your perspective. There are a lot of people who have a lot of valuable information about plants who have high subscriber counts, and the reason they have high subscriber counts is because they do good things for the community and they do have a large amount of knowledge and a large amount of grit to actually get into the cannabis industry through YouTube. But Custom Grow 420, he has 1.73 million subscribers. But I don't know how much he actually knows about plants. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. It's true, man. Everyone is entitled to their opinion. And not everyone has the same exposure to things or the same information. When you know how to grow, go back and watch their channels. You'll see what I'm saying. Lol. So I know how to grow. I've been doing it for a while. I don't necessarily have it down to a science, like some people seem to. But yeah, from what I see, they all know how to grow. Like Pigeons 420 knows how to grow. Rob from Cannabis Lifestyle TV knows how to grow. Easy Growing Canadian. Everyone does have their own technique. There's a million ways to grow this plant. There's 1,000 ways to skin a cat, as the saying goes. Getting a plant to harvest isn't knowing how to grow, brother. Okay, so you're just seem to be a crazy gatekeeper. What is your definition of knowing how to grow? Because if you go beyond, like, I don't know what you're questioning. Like, if you get your plant from seed to harvest, you know how to grow the plant. You know at least one way how to do it. Like, it doesn't matter how you get from A to B. And then you have to... Okay. And then you have to go into, how do you define maximizing yield? Is it by creating a plant that doesn't need to be held up by anything to get a high yield? And then what's a high yield? It like, you're just kind of working. Ask Pigeons what an auxiliary site is, or how scrogging works. He'll tell you you're exposing nodes to the light so they grow, right? That's a big part of it. Yeah. Creating more tops, getting your branches more exposure to the light. Yeah, that does increase your yield because it gives you more light exposure. Like, are you saying someone who grows a plant like a Christmas tree and doesn't, that isn't how plants work? You bend or auxins to the axillary? The plant can only eat so much light. Yeah, the plant can only eat so much light, but you can also even out, like, you can even out your canopy, maximize your light exposure, and maximize your tops, and then get more yield. Space and light. It's also the energy coming from the roots and all that good stuff. Like, you have more than just space and light. What are you talking about? So are you talking about actually getting each individual top larger than average? Or what it would be without whatever plant science you're speaking of specifically? Like, what exactly are you getting at? What's the basis of your argument that you're trying to sling in my direction so I can understand? Because you say you're talking about plant science. Are you specifically talking about, like, yeah, the LED and HPS is a completely different conversation. You said Pigeons knows what he's talking about. Um, I'm just mentioning shit he said that's wrong. And what you're saying is wrong, trying to disprove him. Like, it does increase your yield exposing more tops to light. Because if those tops weren't exposed to light, they would be overshadowed by the tops above them. And if they were overshadowed, they wouldn't get as much light. Therefore, they wouldn't be able to take priority in growing. Like, you're explaining something in a different, more scientific than the observation of the plant growing. And just because you're more specific, you think you're more right, is what it sounds like to me. I mean, the leaves do, but they get put into the plant because of the photosynthesis to create the energy. That's perfectly fine, man. You can agree to disagree with me, I guess. You're either not articulating it in a way I understand, so this energy being blocked from. Okay, I'm gonna draw out what I'm trying to explain to you. I don't have a fucking pen. Basically, right here, imagine there's a bud right here, and then I'm going straight up. And then another bud and a fan leaf overshadowing this. This is not going to get the light intensity unless you do this, and then the bud is here getting more light. So it has higher priority of growing. And I actually have a setup where I have my main canopy shadowing over my seedlings, so my seedlings don't get as much light because they don't need as much light as my veg plants. So they're sitting under the shadows, not getting as much light intensity because they don't need it, and therefore they're not growing as rapidly as they probably would, or getting light burn. Now, why that increases yield is because instead of this bud getting, let's say, like golf ball size, and this one getting popcorn size, you tip it over, and then they both get golf ball size. And that in turn increases yield because you have the same amount of plant matter, vegetatively speaking, but you bent it in such a way that increases the energy intake and increases the energy intake from the soil because you can take up more nutrients because you heal back stronger when you weaken your limbs. So that is energy being blocked from the leaves. You can do the research. You'll either prove me wrong, or who knows, maybe I'm right. I'm not saying you're necessarily wrong. I just don't know what you're trying to disprove with the the bud will be smaller. Will the plant eat less light up and produce less yield overall? I've done this a lot. I know I'm right. I'm just trying to help you see. Well, I mean, you're not doing a very good job. The bud will be smaller. Will the plant eat less light and produce less yield overall? Well, there's less surface area for the light to hit. Yeah, it's not going to absorb as much light. Jesus Christ. Less surface area, thought it was covered by a leaf. Okay. Holy shit. So, this surface area is insignificant because it's not exposed to light. You need to get the even surface area, light, so that it can grow to be the same size as this bud over here. Because if you don't do that, it won't be able to absorb as much light in this area. And that is basically also the explanation for how much larf you get and how far it goes down your actual your plant. And this can vary based on your genetics greatly, but in most cases, the general rule of thumb is that the lower buds will be smaller because it doesn't have as much light. It's getting the same energy from the soil. It's just not being given priority because it does not get as much light. Therefore, does not deal with as much stress. Therefore, doesn't need as much energy. Therefore, will not grow as much. So we're just kind of explaining the same thing to each other, but you're telling me I'm wrong. Is that what's going on here? Or is there really just something you haven't said that I'm not understanding, or have said that I'm not understanding? Because what you're talking about. I'm just going back in the chat here. Talk about auxiliary sites. On plants. So yeah, you're just saying what I've been saying this whole time, because what you call the auxiliary sites are called auxiliary shoots, and they are what I refer to as nodes. And if you expose those to the light over a higher surface area, you get more yield. Therefore, you're just talking about the same thing. We're just talking about the same thing back and forth, trying to disprove each other. Okay, so you're just blatantly wrong. Because that is a way to do it. What the fuck? I'm just gonna tune you out for a little bit. God damn. How do you suggest increasing yield? What are you talking about? Because you say space times light equals yield. What is the space you're talking about? Is it the size of your room? Are you saying I should have a larger room to get larger yield? Do you think weed is like a fucking shark and it just grows to its environment? What are you talking about? And then you do realize you need to fill out the room to have a bigger plant. So you're literally just saying what I'm saying and saying I'm wrong. That's why I'm fucking confused, man. Like, your yield is your space times your light. Yeah, because when you have more space, you have more nodes. What are you talking about? God damn, I must be on fucking crack because you're just saying a lot of shit that doesn't make any sense. Are you saying, okay, if I have a plant, let me ask you this question. Give me a fucking second. Give me a fucking second. If I have a plant in a 5-gallon pot, right? And I veg it for a month. Let's just say for the sake of argument, I'm doing a month veg time. So this plant is small. But it's in an 8x8 room. Let's say for the sake of argument, it has supplemented CO2 and everything else is perfectly fine about the room. Will that plant yield higher than, okay, and we have an SF 8000 above that bitch. Will that yield higher than a plant in an identical room, except it's a 4x4? Is that what you're arguing? Full room times light. So what the fuck else could you be saying? Because that's what you just said. Unless you're arguing it's the light size. Because, like, no shit. An 8,000 is going to put out more energy than a fucking 2,000. We've all been there. To just getting a bigger light and having more space. I've never seen a plant. I don't even have plants in my house, man. That's never even happened. I've never even grown a marijuana. What are you talking about? I've been doing this for no reason. I've just been making videos about nothing. What are you talking about? You're trying to argue to me that you need to fill a grow space completely to increase yield. Okay, cool. Obviously, if you only fill half a room, you're not going to have as high of a yield. If you put one plant in a 3x3 and a scrog in it, or you put 4 plants in a 3x3 and don't train it at all, what yields more? One plant in a 3x3 that you're scrogging is going to yield more per plant. Yep, I did have a lot of growing problems in the past. And yeah, I leave those up because that's what the fuck happened. And I'm not ashamed of it. All I can do is move forward and be better and not be a stupid fucking kid. Been there, bro. I did the same thing. Hey, man, we've all fucking made mistakes. But yeah, the one plant in a 3x3 would yield more per plant if we're talking about a per plant ratio. And if you had 4 plants, they would not be able to yield as much as the one plant in a 3x3. Is that answer correct to your understanding? Four plants would be the same yield. Yield is light and space. Okay, so you're just talking about overall yield for a room. But guess what? I'm about to trigger you. Plants would have just as many nodes as the fucking plant, the single plant, because you would spread it out over more space. It would take more time, but you'd get more yield per plant. Because you'd fill out the same space with a single... Jesus fucking Christ. Holy shit. You're just dense, bro. How do you not understand what I'm talking about? I did not top and get huge buds. What do you think we're doing here? Topping doesn't affect the bud size unless you do it in flower, like some kind of scrud. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm not arguing that yield isn't determined by light by space. But if you have all of the light and space in the world, but you only leave 5 nodes on the plant, how much yield are you going to have? You need to fill up the space with something, right? Jesus Christ. That's not the flex you think it is. I have a low tolerance. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying you're wrong. That's not what's going on here. But you're ignoring the fact that buds grow from the fucking auxiliary shoots that you were talking about a minute ago. We all know this. Guess what you need to fill the space with? Auxiliary nodes. So it can grow buds. Why am I still talking about this? Jesus. Now he's throwing more vocabulary words at me, acting like I won't look them up and learn something. Which, oh my fucking God. Are we gonna learn? Are we gonna break this all the way fucking down to the mitochondria, the powerhouse of the cell? Are we going to learn all the vocabulary words down to there because that's where the energy actually comes from? Wow. Hey, guess what? I know how to grow. It's been documented. It's happened. What the fuck are you talking about? Wow. Alright, I guess I'm looking for a definition. The term apical describes the Christmas tree shape of an untrained plant in the wild. Reed stretches as tall as possible and sends energy to its upmost sections to get more light. Its top contains the large and sticky cola for reproduction. We call the apical or terminal bud. Is that what you're talking about? The dominating cola? Is that what you're referring to? Holy shit. Next time, next this guy's gonna tell me leaves have veins or something. Are you talking about the white hairs that come out of it? Like, what are you talking about? What part of the plant is... You apparently know, man. Hey, man, we've been going on for, an hour and 20 minutes. I'm getting a bit tired. I think I'm going to log off pretty soon. Oh, you mean a top? You mean a top. Which we get more of when we bend a plant over, increasing the nodes that are exposed to the light and the apicals and the branches and all that good stuff, therefore in turn increasing the yield. Jesus Christ. Holy shit. Alright, I love you guys. I will see you next time. I appreciate having the conversation and all that good stuff. We learned a little bit about triploid genetics and what to and what not to look out for. And we talked a little bit about how to increase yield, which was a surprise to me. But hey, we hit all them topics. He's trolling, dude. Too bad he can't teach his own channel. Teach on his own channel. Hey, man, the freakouts always make for good content. And then talking around in circles. It's something I've been doing for 5 or 6 years now. But hey, man, I'm being successful doing it. Do 16 tops or 40 types. Guess what? 40 tops always fucking yields more than 16 tops. Or does the plant use that energy from the same amount of bud? Either way. Let me tell you this, man. Feed your plant some Bud Light, because that's actually going to increase their yield. The yeast actually will feed the microbes, so have fun with that one. I'm fucking kidding, by the way. Don't take me seriously. The white hairs, you got it. Fantastic. Those are called pistils in the cannabis community. Shout out to South Beemore, Dad's Tents, Legion's Laboratory. T-Flow was in here also. Love seeing you guys. Love having conversations. The short bus is waiting. And motherfucker, it's going to be waiting a long goddamn time because I'm too fucking retarded to ride a bus. No use sparkling water. Man, sparkling water is fucking disgusting. Fuck Bubbly. Don't like them. But no, I'll see you guys next time. I had a great time. Love going live and learning about random shit and why we don't buy triploid genetics grow inside. So, anyone want to drop any last messages in the chat? Definitely do that. Cheers, you guys. I'm gonna go get fucking high.